Imagine standing in a packed arena moments before the headliner storms the stage. The air is tense, the crowd restless, the hush before the storm almost deafening. That's the atmosphere swirling around Drake's newest release, Nokiia, which was poised to be a dramatic game-changer in his career. But instead of a triumphant return, it's ignited a frenzy of controversy. Some say it's the riskiest artistic leap he's taken in years. Others call it a desperate ploy to mimic a rival who's already overshadowed him. Either way, the moment Nokiia dropped, a firestorm erupted. Critics and fans alike rushed to dissect every line, every image, every alleged shot at Kendrick Lamar. Drake has never been one to shy away from courting public attention. In fact, he's excelled at it. But this time, the spotlight might be blistering hot. Far from simply offering a slick new single, Nokiia has detonated dormant tensions between Drake and Kendrick, pulling a surprising supporting cast into the vortex. Kanye West has jumped into the fray, fueling theories about an industry conspiracy aimed at propping Kendrick up while holding Drake down. An off-the-wall interview from media figure A further ratcheted up the drama by painting both Drake and Kanye as misunderstood underdogs. Is Drake truly copying Kendrick's moves, or is he crafting a savvy homage to stir up conversation? Does Kanye's endorsement of Drake as a victim of record label scheming hold any merit, or is it just more of the unpredictable rambling we've come to expect from him? And how have the fans on both sides turned social media into an all-out battleground where every rumor, half-truth, and conspiratorial whisper gets amplified 1,000 times over? Strap in. We're about to dive into the labyrinth of Drake versus Kendrick, an epic standoff that seemed to have lost steam until Nokiia brought it roaring back to life. From the cryptic references buried in Drake's latest video to the wild theories being flung around by Kanye and A, we'll unpack how this saga has exploded far beyond a simple rap beef into a tangle of alliances, betrayals, and swirling intrigues. Drake's legion of fans had high hopes for Nokiia, anticipating a reinvention that would prove he still has the power to dominate charts and conversations. After a lukewarm reception to some of his recent projects, many believed this could be the pivot to reinvigorate his brand, something bold, something fresh, something distinctly Drake. The reality, however, turned out to be much more complicated. From the opening seconds of the Nokiia video, it's clear Drake aimed to craft a cinematic spectacle. Ornate set designs, sweeping camera angles, and meticulously choreographed scenes scream ambition. Observers initially applauded the video's high production values, but as the dust settled, chatter about the eerie resemblance to Kendrick Lamar's visual style began to dominate. Certain shots triggered déjà vu among fans who swear they've seen similar angles and thematic touches in Kendrick's most iconic music videos. Critics on social media started sharing side-by-side comparisons, pointing out lighting choices, costumes, even cameo appearances that mirror Kendrick's past work. Before long, hashtags accusing Drake of blatant mimicry surged across Twitter. Of course, plenty of Drake supporters fought back. They argued that hip-hop visuals often overlap in style and that it's unfair to pin every artistic flourish on one artist. They reminded everyone that Drake has borrowed influences from various sources throughout his career, seamlessly blending them into his own aesthetic. But to skeptics, Nokiia represents more than inspiration. They view it as Drake trying to hijack Kendrick's entire creative vibe. Ironically, this paradox might benefit Drake. Even those who call it an embarrassing misstep can't stop talking about it. If his aim was to drag himself back into the rap conversation in a colossal way, it's working. The question is whether this surge of attention translates into genuine respect, or cements the idea that Drake, once the leading pop rap superstar, is now grasping for relevance through imitating a rival. To grasp why Nokiia has triggered such an uproar, we have to rewind to the years of simmering tension between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Both burst onto the scene with ferocious talent, but for a while, they weren't direct competitors in the public's eye. Drake had the knack for crossover hits, blending R&B sweetness with rap swagger. Kendrick was the socially conscious firebrand whose lyrical depth earned him critical acclaim. Slowly, however, Kendrick's ascent accelerated. Each release, Good Kid, M.A.'d City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, deepened his influence. Critics hailed his every move as groundbreaking, and awards piled up. Drake's undeniable commercial clout was still intact, but the cultural temperature was shifting. Fans started referring to Kendrick as the new pinnacle of rap artistry, a label Drake once held with little contest. Then came subtle jabs in lyrics, cryptic interviews, and cameo appearances that stoked rumors of an unspoken feud. Whenever Kendrick's success made headlines, Drake's next project seemed to carry a whiff of desperation, as though he was scrambling to prove he was still the top dog. This pattern continued for years, building tension. But it took Nokia to push it into overdrive, reinserting Drake into the conversation about who really rules the rap kingdom. Now, as fans analyze every second of Nokia, the rivalry's resurgent energy pulses through social media. Each new claim or rumor about hidden references to Kendrick's videos, or cryptic lines that might be disses, pours fuel on a fire that never fully died. And into this roaring blaze steps Kanye West, making statements that connect the rivalry to an even bigger web of conspiracy theories. Within hours of Nokia premiering, the internet was flooded with side-by-side screenshots comparing Drake's latest offering to Kendrick's past work. Some of these parallels were subtle, perhaps a similar color scheme or camera angle. Others were blatant. One sequence in particular showed Drake standing amid a group of dancers in an all-white environment, which critics said echoed the choreography and minimalistic staging used in one of Kendrick's classic videos. For many hip-hop fans, this was the tipping point. They labeled Drake a copycat, accusing him of lacking fresh ideas. Some even joked that Drake had a secret formula. If you can't outdo Kendrick, at least make it look like you can replicate his style. Predictably, Drake's defenders came roaring in. They claimed these critiques were overblown, part of a smear campaign meant to tear him down. They insisted that Drake thrives on blending influences, forging something new from existing cultural elements. After all, he's dabbled in dancehall, Afrobeat, trap, and more, always putting his signature spin on it. Why should it be any different when referencing Kendrick's artistry? Yet the controversy lingers because Nokia isn't just borrowing a few motifs. It seems to echo the overall spirit of Kendrick's creative direction. The camera movements, the symbolic imagery, the dramatic group shots. Skeptics argue these choices are too specific to be chalked up to coincidence. And the big question is why? Why would Drake, who once enjoyed near-universal acclaim, risk looking like a follower in a game where confidence and originality are currency? That question sets the stage for the more elaborate theories swirling around the rap community, some of which involve major players and behind-the-scenes machinations, like Kanye West, who strides into the frame waving a flag that reads, "Conspiracy." Right when the Drake-Kendrick drama seemed intense enough, in waltzed Kanye West with a microphone. Kanye has never shied away from making bold, controversial statements, but this time his commentary arrived through an interview helmed by media. Provocateur A. The interview quickly became the most polarizing event in hip-hop chatter since the Nokia video itself. Kanye rattled off startling claims. Kendrick was an industry puppet, chosen by secretive label executives to usurp Drake's position. The entire rap feud, according to Kanye, might be a strategic move orchestrated by these same shadowy forces. In his view, Drake is the real star who's been systematically undermined by invisible hands pulling the strings. The internet practically exploded. Drake supporters latched onto Kanye's narrative, praising him for unmasking the hidden agendas in the music business. Kendrick's fans rolled their eyes, calling Kanye's rants the delusions of a once great artist who's spiraling. Even by Kanye's high standards of controversy, this interview stood out for its raw, conspiracy-laden fervor. More interestingly, Kanye portrayed himself and Drake as kindred spirits, both victims of an industry machine that punishes those who don't fall in line. For years, Kanye and Drake had an on-again, off-again rivalry that sometimes descended into personal attacks. Now Kanye sang a different tune. He and Drake were misunderstood geniuses, misunderstood by a system that props up other artists. Whether one believes Kanye or sees him as a chaotic agent with a personal axe to grind, his words tossed new ingredients into an already volatile stew. Suddenly, The Drake versus Kendrick feud wasn't just about two rappers tussling for the throne. It was about who controls that throne in the first place, and whether clandestine powers had rigged the battlefield. A single statement or interview can spark theories that blaze across social media like wildfire. That's exactly what's happened with the Drake victim narrative. Once Kanye declared Drake had been suppressed, a massive faction of fans jumped on the idea, weaving it into a grand tapestry of conspiracy. In this storyline, Drake is the underdog hero, forced to defend himself against the music industry's hand-picked champion, Kendrick Lamar. People cite the NFL inviting Kendrick to high-profile performances as evidence, claiming such gigs are orchestrated by corporate powers that favor Kendrick's brand of artistry. Some go further, alleging Grammy wins and primetime spots for Kendrick are all part of a covert plot to keep Drake from fully dominating the culture. Skeptics laugh at these notions, pointing out that Drake's massive commercial success dwarfs almost everyone else in hip-hop. They ask, why on earth would labels conspire to stop their biggest moneymaker from thriving? Others highlight the moral complexities. Kendrick's content has always leaned towards social consciousness, which could appeal to entities looking to associate themselves with more meaningful, culturally resonant projects. In other words, maybe Kendrick's success stems from genuine public admiration rather than shady boardroom deals. Still, the victim narrative resonates with fans who feel Drake has never received the respect he deserves as an artist. From this viewpoint, Drake's shift in style or copying of Kendrick might be the last resort of a performer who's realized traditional moves won't cut it if the industry itself is pulling the rug from under him. Instead of seeing Nokia as a cheap imitation, these fans view it as Drake turning Kendrick's own technique against him, a defiant stance that says, anything you can do, I can do better. No matter which side you're on, it's clear this storyline has captured imaginations. It feeds into a broader suspicion of media manipulation, corporate influence, and the notion that big entertainment sometimes thrives on stoking rivalries. And when people start believing there's a hidden hand guiding this feud, every new development, like an unexpected interview or a suspicious cameo, gets spun into more proof that we're witnessing the biggest orchestrated drama in hip-hop. Open Twitter, Reddit, or any hip-hop forum on a random day, and you'll see how deeply this feud has penetrated online culture. The clash between Drake's loyalists and Kendrick's devotees feels less like a friendly rivalry and more like all-out warfare. Every move by either artist gets dissected in real time. Did Drake's latest tweet hint at Kendrick? Does Kendrick's new t-shirt color reference a hidden Drake diss? The speculation can be exhausting, but it's also addictive for those caught up in the spectacle. Some fans revel in the memes, trading savage jokes that underscore the comedic side of what might otherwise be a tense situation. Others adopt a more earnest tone, writing essay-length posts attempting to prove or debunk conspiracy theories. Social media influencers and bloggers fan the flames, knowing that stirring up Drake versus Kendrick drama brings in clicks and engagement. Inevitably, what started as a discussion about artistic merit sometimes devolves into personal attacks. Drake's detractors label him a has-been pop star whose best days are behind him, while Kendrick's critics accuse him of leaning on social issues to distract from boring rap style, an opinion that draws immediate backlash from those who see Kendrick as a visionary. The heightened emotions can be overwhelming, drowning out more nuanced debate about the music itself. For casual observers, it might be difficult to keep track of which rumors come from credible sources and which are simply invented for clout. Self-proclaimed insiders and anonymous tipsters surface with cryptic hints, claiming knowledge of unreleased diss tracks or behind-the-scenes sabotage. Few of these leaks ever pan out, but they generate just enough excitement to keep fans chasing the next big reveal. So where does Drake go now? Nokia was obviously meant to be a thunderbolt of a release, possibly the catalyst for an even bigger announcement, a forthcoming album or a series of singles that would capitalize on the controversy. The real test is whether Drake can weather the storm of criticism and come out looking stronger. Historically, controversy has sometimes worked in his favor, spurring interest in his projects and boosting his sales. But this time feels different. Fans aren't just calling Nokia a misstep. Many see it as a referendum on Drake's creative identity. If his entire approach banks on echoing Kendrick, does Drake risk losing the distinct voice that made him a superstar in the first place? Or is he a savvy showman, using the spotlight of controversy to shift the narrative back onto himself? On Kendrick's side, there's a giant question mark hovering. He's been relatively quiet amid the swirling speculation. In the rap universe, silence can be as powerful as a direct diss track. By not openly responding to Drake's jabs or Kanye's outlandish comments, Kendrick creates an aura that he's unbothered and above the chaos. But make no mistake, if and when Kendrick addresses Nokia, the response could be explosive, potentially overshadowing anything Drake has tried to accomplish with his new video. Kanye's position is similarly uncertain. Will he continue championing Drake as a fellow underdog, or will he shift gears once the public attention pivots? Kanye's unpredictable nature has left fans wondering if his support is genuine or simply a means of directing the spotlight back onto himself. If the speculation about a bigger Drake-Kanye collaboration holds any water, it might be a strategic alliance that changes the rap landscape yet again, the hottest feud of the decade, or it could fade into memory as Drake's most curious misfire. But for now, it's the spark that has everyone talking, theorizing, and picking sides. If there's one certainty, it's that this story is far from over, and every passing day seems to add another chapter to a saga that might reshape the rap game in ways we have yet to fully grasp. Until the next bombshell drops, stay vigilant. Keep your ears open, and remember that in the ever-evolving theater of hip-hop, what you see is rarely the whole picture. After all, that's the magic and the madness of this culture we love. One track, one video, or one offhand comment can change everything overnight. And in this particular drama, Nokiia might just be the beginning.